Are you a narcissist? After being involved with several narcissists throughout my life, I have looked at myself over the years and sometimes wondered if maybe I'm a narcissist in certain ways. So I decided to do some research, and what I learned is pretty interesting. I want to make sure you understand this video is not any kind of tool for diagnosing narcissism. It's simply a quick quiz to see if you have any narcissistic traits, or maybe someone you are involved with has them. So what are some traits? It's important to know these so you can determine if this is something you might be struggling with. And keep this in mind, just because some people might display narcissistic traits does not mean that they are full-blown narcissists. So the first trait is a feeling of superiority. This simply means they think they are better at everything and better than everyone around them. And if you do or say something they don't like, they will become visually upset about it. They might start trying to break you down in front of other people. They might start talking shit about you to try to get to discredit you. This is how they try to maintain their perceived superiority over you. Another trait is being entitled. Narcissists have a strong feeling of entitlement. They feel entitled to your respect, even if they haven't earned it. They will also feel entitled to an apology, because we all know that narcissists are never wrong. Keep in mind, this sense of entitlement is constant throughout their life, so just because you may feel a certain sense of entitlement from time to time, it doesn't necessarily mean you are a narcissist. The third trait, and what seems to be the most common, is the need for attention. Big events like birthdays, holidays, weddings, or celebrating a big success at work. These events are very difficult for a narcissist. They will do anything to try to turn the attention on them. They have a hard time when the full focus is not on them. When a narcissist isn't the center of attention, they might pick a fight or interrupt a conversation. This is their way of making it all about them. In my experience with this, I was celebrating a big birthday year, and there was a big party planned, so the narc in my life decided to create a stir leading up to the party, and then just not show up. This caused several people to ask where they were, which put some of the attention onto them. It was clear they did this totally on purpose. They needed people to wonder about them and to worry about them. It was their way of finding out who really cared about them. The next trait is the need for control. Narcissists must stay in control in their effort to keep up the facade that they are perfect and superior to everyone else. Without full control, they won't be able to keep up that facade. So they will start doing things like showering you with compliments and affection. And if that doesn't do the trick, they will just start gaslighting you. It can get really confusing for us at times what they are trying to do here. But you have to keep in mind, it's all just tied to that need for complete control. Even if you think at the time they are a great person, they are really just doing these things to get what they want from us. Another trait is a total lack of boundaries, because a narcissist's need for control and having to make sure everything is perfect for them, they have a hard time accepting any kind of boundaries. They want to make us feel we are just an extension of them, that we can no longer think for ourselves and we can't live without them. So when we do something they see as disrespectful or hurtful, they will lash out and put us back in our place. Or even if we do something great, they won't like that either, because we did it without them, and they just can't deal with that. So think back on your past relationships or your current ones, and tell me if I'm wrong here. The majority of the time, whenever we have some sort of success in our life, the narcissist will lash out at us because it's something they don't want us to be. They don't like to see us have any success at anything, because when that happens and they see it happening right in front of them, they feel they are losing control, which then makes them go out of control. So creating boundaries are a big no-no to a narcissist. When you do that, just watch how they react. Another key trait is that they never take responsibility for anything. They are not capable of offering any kind of true apology. Even when they do apologize, it is immediately followed up with something like, "But if you hadn't said this, or if you had done that, this never would have happened." Anytime something doesn't go as planned for a narcissist, they will immediately pass the ownership of that issue right onto you. They will never own up to anything that they do. Another important trait to look for is empathy. That's the ability to feel for someone else, whether it's their pain, or maybe even something as simple as dropping something on the ground, or maybe tripping and falling down. Any normal person would say something like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, let me give you a hand," and then assist that person. Empaths do this because they can see something like that happening to them and know what it would feel like. Narcissists don't feel that. They don't have the ability to feel true empathy. They can't put themselves into anyone else's shoes, even for a second. What they will do is expect people to feel like they do, which turns out is really somebody that has no feelings at all. So the last trait I want to cover is splitting. Splitting is when someone thinks someone else is either all good or all bad. There is no in between. Narcissists tend to be totally black or white with this. And it doesn't take much for them to pick a side. They can be approached by someone they have liked for a long time and then suddenly be put off by a comment, and then turn 100% against that person, and then try to get anyone that will listen to go against that person as well. Or on the flip side, they might be putting someone on this big pedestal. This person is the greatest and can't seem to do any wrong. They usually do this with new sources of supply. Depending on how deep a narcissist gets into a relationship with someone, either romantically or just on a friendship type basis, the result always ends up the same. How many narcissists do you know that have super strong, long-term relationships with anybody? This is a serious question, guys. I struggle to find any of the narcissists I have encountered having any kind of relationship that has any real value to it whatsoever. Now, if you've stuck with me in this video and you still wonder if you might be a narcissist, here's a short quiz to help you decide. Number 1, does the thought that you might be a narcissist affect how you feel for the people around you? Do you feel bad or have any guilt about your feelings? Number 2, do you have concerns about how other people feel? Does it bother you if you knew that something you said or did upset someone else? Number 3, when you hurt someone's feelings, are you quick to apologize? Do you have an instant desire to make things better? And number 4, do you get a little nervous or anxious if there's too much attention on you? So if you answered yes to these questions, I'm going to bet that you are not a narcissist. Showing empathy, quickly apologizing for mistakes, and avoiding too much attention are all signs that you are not likely a narcissist. If you are still concerned and maybe having a difficult time trying to assess yourself, here are a couple more quick questions to ask yourself. Number 1, do you look at your significant other, your friends, or your children as an extension of you? Are they representing you and living out your life? Number 2, do you ever feel that other people aren't good enough to associate with you? Number 3, do you find it hard to apologize for your mistakes, and do you tend to think that it's always someone else's fault when you have a disagreement? Number 4, are you concerned about how someone else feels as a result of an argument or a disagreement? Is it hard for you to see things from a different perspective? If you answered yes to any of these questions, it is possible that you have some narcissistic traits. If any of this concerns you at all, be sure to go seek professional help. Again, this is not any kind of controlled test here. These are just simply things that kind of line up with some of the traits I discussed earlier. Just a simple exercise to try out for yourself. And I'll tell you this, if you are watching this video and are concerned about whether or not you might be a narcissist, chances are you aren't. This can be a real concern for empaths and super empaths because we feel so strongly about other people. And sometimes these things might resonate with us. Then we think, hey, wait a minute, am I maybe a narcissist? But here's the difference, and remember this. A narcissist can't put themselves in someone else's shoes. They are not concerned about what anyone else thinks, and they are unable to feel true empathy. So take some time to reflect on these thoughts and keep these questions in your mind. They will be a good guide for you, not only to assess yourself, but to observe others as well. I really hope this helps ease any thoughts or fears about whether or not you are a narcissist. Thank you so much for watching, and always remember, watch for those signs, be alert, be vigilant, be strong, be brave, and go live your best life today.